Let's start. Today we will see how to implement Jetpack navigation in the Java Android. Let's see the project structure. At the app level build.gradle file, integrate these dependencies. Here we have the main activity, 3 fragments, 1, 2, and 3, and a toolbar manager class. And in the UI, we have respective layout files of the activity and 3 fragments. Now right-click the RES folder and select the new option. Select the Android Resource Directory option. From the resource type drop-down list, select the navigation option. Keep the directory name as navigation only. And click OK. This will create an Android directory called navigation like this. Now, right-click this navigation directory, and click the new option. Click the navigation resource file option. Name this file as nav_graph, and click OK. This will create a navigation graph file like this. We will design the navigation graph later, before that we need to set up a navigation host. In the activity_main.xml file, the constraint layout is the root layout. This is the fragment container view. This will act as the host container for the fragments. The name attribute is set like this. The default nav host attribute is set to true. The nav graph attribute is set to the nav_graph file. Now, open the nav_graph.xml file in the design mode. As you can see, the activity_main.xml file is already mentioned as the host here. Now click this Add New Destination button. Select fragment 1 from this list. If you don't see any fragments listed, restart the Android Studio. Now the first fragment is added as the home fragment and is marked with a home icon here. Click the Add New Destination button again. Click fragment 2. Drag fragment 2 to the right side of fragment 1 like this. Hover the fragment 1 until you see a circular handle like this. Click and drag this circular handle and join it to fragment 2. You will see an arrow starting from fragment 1 and ending at fragment 2. This arrow is the navigation route from fragment 1 to fragment 2. Click the Add New Destination button again. Click fragment 3. Drag fragment 3 to the right side of fragment 1 like this. Hover the fragment 1 until you see a circular handle like this. Click and drag this circular handle and join it to fragment 3. You will see an arrow starting from fragment 1 and ending at fragment 3. This arrow is the navigation route from fragment 1 to fragment 3. Click this Auto Arrange button. It will properly adjust this layout visually. Our navigation graph is ready, let's read it. Click the code option. The navigation tag is the root layout. The ID is the file name itself. The start destination is set to fragment 1. Inside the navigation, we have 3 fragments listed, fragments 1, 2, and 3. Each fragment is listed with an ID, a name which is the fragment's file path, a label that will be shown as the toolbar title, and its layout. Inside fragment 1, we have 2 action tags. This action defines the navigation route from fragment 1 to fragment 2. And this action defines the navigation route from fragment 1 to fragment 3. This is fragment 2. And this is fragment 3. In the fragment_1.xml file, we have a toolbar and 2 buttons, go to the second fragment and go to the third fragment. Let's see the code. This is the constraint layout. This is the toolbar. This is the Go to Second Fragment button. This is the Go to Third Fragment button. In the fragment_2.xml file, we have a toolbar and a text view. In the fragment_third.xml file, we have a toolbar and a text view. Let's see the Java code now. These are the imports. This is the Toolbar Manager class. Here we set up the data members and implement the singleton object creation pattern so that only a single object of this class would be present throughout the app lifecycle. This is the setup toolbar function. This function receives a context, a nav controller, an app bar configuration, a toolbar, and a boolean variable to decide if we want a back button on the toolbar or not, as the parameters. First, we set up the app bar configuration and the nav controller. Then we set up the toolbar text color. Then we decide if we want the toolbar back button or not. This is the setup back button function. These are the imports. This is the main activity. This is the data member. In the onCreate function, we call the setup navigation method. Here we set up the app navigation. This is the onSupport navigation up function. This function tells the navigation controller to remove the current fragment and load the previous fragment when the back button of the Android device is clicked. These are the imports. This is the fragment one. These are the data members. In the onCreate view function, we get the navigation controller and call the setup toolbar function. This is the setup toolbar function. When the go to second fragment button is clicked, we navigate to the second fragment like this. This action ID is mentioned in the navigation graph file. When the go to third fragment button is clicked, we navigate to the third fragment like this. This action ID is mentioned in the navigation graph file. These are the imports. This is fragment 2. These are the data members. In the onCreate function, we get the navigation controller and call the setup toolbar function. This is the setup toolbar function. Here we have defined that this fragment will have a back button on its toolbar. These are the imports. This is fragment 3. These are the data members. In the onCreate function, we get the navigation controller and call the setup toolbar function. This is the setup toolbar function. Here we have defined that this fragment will have a back button on its toolbar. Let's run the app. So that's it. That's how you can implement the Jetpack navigation in Java Android. Thank you.